thought I had the perfect life. Beautiful fiancée, Sarah, a great job, and a wedding just around the corner. We'd been together for 5 years, and I was ready to spend the rest of my life with her. Then one night everything shattered. I came home early from a business trip to surprise her. The lights were dim, and I heard noises from the bedroom. My heart pounded in my chest, a cold dread washing over me. I pushed the door open, and there she was, with one of our mutual friends, Mark. The world just stopped. I saw red, but then something inside me snapped into a chilling calm. I quietly backed out, closed the front door without a sound, and left. They never even knew I was there. That night, I didn't sleep. I just sat in my car, replaying the scene over and over. Rage, betrayal, and a deep, aching sadness swirled inside me. I could have confronted them, screamed, thrown things. But what would that accomplish? It would be messy, loud, and ultimately unsatisfying. No, I decided, they didn't deserve a dramatic explosion. They deserved a quiet, calculated dismantling of the world they thought was so secure. Sarah had no idea I knew. The next morning, she texted me, "Miss you so much. Can't wait for you to be back tomorrow." The hypocrisy was staggering. I replied with a simple, "Miss you too. Can't wait." And so, the game began. My revenge had to be meticulous. It wasn't about hurting her physically or emotionally in a cheap way. It was about justice. It was about her facing the consequences of her actions in the most public and undeniable way possible. The first step was to gather evidence. I was an IT specialist, a skill set that was about to become incredibly useful. I told Sarah I needed to do some maintenance on our home network and her laptop to make sure everything was secure. She didn't suspect a thing. I installed monitoring software, recovering deleted texts, emails, and photos. It was all there, a detailed timeline of their affair. They'd been seeing each other for over 6 months. They mocked me in their messages, calling me clueless and predictable. Every word was a knife in my gut, but it also fueled my resolve. This wasn't just a fling. It was a deep, calculated betrayal. While I played the part of the loving, unsuspecting fiancé, my plan was taking shape. Our wedding was in 2 months. The venue was booked, deposits paid mostly from my savings, invitations were sent out. Their affair gave me the perfect stage. I continued with the wedding planning as if nothing was wrong. I went with her to cake tastings, nodding along as she debated between vanilla and chocolate, all while picturing her face when the truth came out. I even had dinner with Mark and his girlfriend, playing the role of his good friend, knowing he was sleeping with my fiancée. It was the hardest thing I've ever done, acting normal while my world was on fire. But every fake smile, every polite conversation, was a step closer to my goal. The second part of my plan involved our finances. We had a joint account for wedding expenses. I started meticulously documenting every penny. I also found out that Mark had borrowed a significant amount of money from Sarah, promising to pay her back after a big deal at his work came through. Of course, the deal was fictional. He was just using her. It was almost poetic. The cheater was being conned by her fellow cheater. I downloaded all their conversations about the money, along with our bank statements. The evidence was piling up, creating a fortress of facts that she couldn't possibly deny or escape. The week before the wedding was surreal. Her family flew in, and we had dinners and parties. They all talked about how perfect we were for each other. Sarah's mother pulled me aside one night, tears in her eyes, telling me how happy she was that her daughter had found such a good, stable man. I just smiled and said I was the lucky one. Inside, I was a coiled spring of tension. Sarah was glowing, completely oblivious. She was busy with final dress fittings and bridal showers, basking in the attention. She thought she was getting everything she wanted, a stable husband and a thrill on the side. She was about to find out that you can't have your cake and eat it too. The day of the wedding arrived. It was a beautiful, sunny day. I stood at the altar, looking out at the 150 guests, our families. My best man, my brother, gave me a concerned look. He was the only one who knew something was up, though I hadn't told him the details. I just told him to trust me. Then the music started. Everyone stood up. The doors opened, and there was Sarah on her father's arm, looking like an angel in her white dress. She smiled at me, a perfect, radiant smile. My heart didn't flutter. It was cold as ice. As she reached the altar, her father placed her hand in mine. The officiant began the ceremony. He went through the opening words, talking about love, trust, and fidelity. The irony was suffocating. Then he got to the part where he asks if anyone has any objections. I took a deep breath. "Actually, I do," I said, my voice clear and steady. A ripple of confusion went through the crowd. Sarah looked at me, her smile faltering. "What are you doing?" she whispered. I ignored her and turned to the guests. "I'm sorry to have brought you all here under false pretenses," I said, my voice amplified by the microphone. "But it seems there are some things we need to clear up before we can talk about lifelong commitment." I then pulled out my phone and connected it to the large screens we had rented for a photo slideshow. But instead of pictures of our happy moments, the screen lit up with their text messages. The ones where they called me clueless, the ones where they planned their secret meetings. I had edited them into a chronological slideshow. A collective gasp went through the room. I saw Mark, who was one of my groomsmen, turn ghost white. Sarah's face went from confusion to horror to pure, unadulterated panic. Her mother started sobbing. Her father looked like he was about to have a heart attack. I let the messages scroll for a full minute, letting everyone absorb the depth of the betrayal. Then, I stopped the slideshow. As you can see, I continued, my voice calm, our entire relationship. This entire wedding has been based on a foundation of lies and disrespect. Sarah has been having an affair with my groomsman, Mark, for the better part of a year. I looked directly at Mark. And Mark, I hope your girlfriend, who is sitting right there, enjoys hearing about this too. His girlfriend stood up, her face a mask of fury, and stormed out. Mark just stood there, paralyzed. Finally, I looked at Sarah. The angel in white was now just a woman in a fancy dress, her face streaked with tears of humiliation, not joy. "I think this marriage is off," I said simply. "By the way, all the non-refundable deposits for this lovely party were paid for by me, so please, everyone, enjoy the food and the open bar. Think of it as a gift from me for your time. Celebration of me finally dodging a bullet." I then turned to Sarah's father. "I believe this is yours," I said, placing her hand back in his. "I can't accept her." Without another word, I turned around, walked down the aisle, past the stunned faces of our guests, and out the door. I didn't look back. I drove away, and for the first time in months, I felt like I could breathe again. The revenge wasn't loud or violent, but it was absolute. It was the truth, served cold, on what was supposed to be the happiest day of her life. And that was a satisfaction no screaming match could ever provide. Thank you for listening to my story. If you've ever been through something similar, know that you're not alone, and your strength is greater than your pain. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more stories.